When voting for a president, we need to make sure we are making the right choice, or at least being conscious of what the right choice is for us. That's why reporters and media help us with news about candidates to see their proposals and their political and personal life. But in this new century, media and reporters have lost an incredible amount of their audience who now pay more attention to the news that pop up in their feeds. With this change, information is free to be edited, interpreted, and created, and still have a massive audience in minutes just by clicking the button of sharing. It sounds great until you realize that this information could not have been produced or fact-checked by any specialist before posting it, making it fake news. In this video, we'll see how fake news based on stereotypes attempted to harm the voting decision of the 2021 presidential elections in Peru. Pedro Castillo, before becoming the president of Peru, was a rural professor from Chora, the Sierra of Peru. When media showed that he was the most voted in the first round of the presidential elections, no one could believe that a person from the Sierra had won over the capital people, and that's how biases started to appear in the media. The first bias was the anchor one. People started posting racist and stereotypical posts affirming that Pedro Castillo had a link to terrorism. And because of these early postings of racist and stereotypical affirmations, many Peruvians saw this post and thought that he was in fact a terrorist because they barely knew his name. Like Pedro Castillo was a super new candidate who had just moved from Chora to the capital to participate in these elections. The stereotype of terrorism with people from the Sierra originated in the 90s terrorist age in Peru. Sendero Luminoso, a terrorist Maoist political party, emerged from Ayacucho and terrorized the entire country for 20 years. At the same time, people from the Sierra, from all parts of the Sierra in Peru, were migrating to the capital, Lima, in search for better job opportunities. These two big events that relate Sierra to the capital made that the capital people started thinking and calling all migrants terrorists, and they accused them without proof of being part of Senderos Luminoso's party. The stereotype was so powerful that police didn't hesitate twice to think if it was only stigma, and based on this stereotype, they killed many innocent migrants. And the stereotype didn't disappear there. As we see now, the stereotype is still present in Pedro Castillo's case, because capital people have somehow encoded terrorism with Sierra, and with Pedro Castillo, as I said, a rural professor from the Sierra emerged from the shadows, the first thing that media portrayed about him was that he was a terrorist. Furthermore, another present topic was memory encoding and retrieval. Thanks to the massive spread of fake news and stereotypes, capital people who had encoded deep-rooted terrorism with people from the Sierra, as I said before, retrieved the information and convinced themselves that it was true, and that their future president was going to be a terrorist. It doesn't end there, thanks to the ignorance also being encoded to people from the Sierra. So capital people retrieve this stereotype that they have of people from the Sierra being ignorant of everything in form of memes. There were some memes of Pedro Castillo being compared to a burro, a donkey, and also not only Pedro Castillo but all the people who voted for him, who were mostly people from the Sierra who just want representation in the government, compared also to burros, to donkeys. Moving forward from Pedro Castillo's case, Keiko Fujimori, the other candidate, lost because Pedro Castillo was by Peruvians the lesser of two evils. But it doesn't make sense, right? If most people believe that Pedro Castillo was a terrorist, how could he win? This is because Peruvians had encoded Keiko's last name, Fujimori, with her father, Alberto Fujimori, a corrupt dictator that something that characterizes his government in Peru from 1990s to 2000s is an age of turbulent events like economic shocks, corruption, dictatorship, violations of human rights that shocked literally the entire country. The point and conclusion of this video is to show how biases, stereotypes, and memory encoding and retrieval can have a massive power in big important events like presidential elections, and how they can be presented in the form of news. that because of the massive audience that they now have thanks to social media, they can influence people's votes. Thank you.